Petition for interpleader and declaratory judgment to determine rights with respect to a fund. Churchill Rescue Squad Incorporated, Plaintiff, versus Summerwell's Reward Fund donors and interested parties, Fiona O'Connor, the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District, defendants. So pardon me if I ad-lib a little way through this. First thing I want to point out is that we are all defendants. For those that wanted to pick this apart and make it a big scandal to piggyback your slanderous BS about the reward fund and myself, I'll read it again. The defendants are Summerwell's Reward Fund donors and interested parties, Fiona O'Connor, who inserted herself, by the way, Kiana Carlock, the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District. We are named, everyone except Fiona, we are named because we are interested parties. We have a right to dispute the fact that the rescue squad wants to give the funds to the bank to control. I've spoken with the attorney a couple of times, and they clearly understand that none of us donors want that money back. None of us donors have an issue with that money going where we agreed that it would go, to the Child Advocacy Center, if Summer was not found. So they know that. But these are technicalities, and this is a petition, not a lawsuit. Fiona is here because she's all in our business and don't even know what's really going on, just to be blatant. She wrote a whole letter to the Churchill Rescue Squad on June 9th, 2022, she dated it, and complained about the way the funds were collected. As I understand it from this letter, she made a big noise. At the end, it's signed by Carl Nichols. It's typed Fiona O'Connor. We'll get to that. But that's what started all of this. And it's been confirmed. I won't even call names, but I've spoken with the powers that be, and everyone understands we don't need to be here, but we are. Anyway, that's why she's there. Of course, the Churchill Rescue Squad, they're listed as the plaintiff because they are the ones that said, hey, we don't want any confusion. Let's just give the money to the judge and let the judge decide what happens. So I asked the attorney for clarification on what exactly could happen when we get to the judge, to the hearing. And it's basically a matter of where's the money gonna go. And as I understand it, since we're not disputing it, and we're the 32,000 plus, we, the reward fund donors, that other money, that 25 or so thousand that the people were holding checks, I don't know anything about that. Maybe it's here when I read this petition. But our funds, I would think, and the attorney would think, that the judge would just send them on over to Children's Advocacy Center because we're not having a dispute about it. No one is debating or questioning or investigating the funds themselves or how they were collected. It's not a problem for the umpteenth time. All they want to know is where's the money going to go now. All right, so let's read this thing. Petition for interpleader and declaratory judgment to determine rights with respect to a fund. This is a cause which implicates the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished, as a sardonic commentary on the frequency with which acts of kindness backfire on those who offer them. Plaintiff brings this case for the purpose of determining a question of actual controversy among the parties and for cause of action as follows. Jurisdictional statement. 1. That declaratory judgment pursuant to the provisions of Tennessee Code and 29-14-101 and an action in the nature of interpleader pursuant to Tennessee R. Civil Pro 22 is sought. that the events giving rise to this cause of action occurred within Hawkins County, Tennessee, that this court has jurisdiction over the subject matter and parties to this action, that venue is proper in this court. Facts: that Plaintiff Churchill Rescue Squad, hereinafter Rescue Squad, is a Tennessee public benefit corporation. The Plaintiff Rescue Squad is expressly exempt from the requirements of statutes relating to solicitation of charitable funds pursuant to Tennessee Code Ann 48-101-502A3. That after 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing on June 15, 2021, Plaintiff Rescue Squad acted as the incident commander in the search and rescue effort by many agencies, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and Hawkins County Sheriff's Office for that missing child over a period of many weeks. That the outpouring of support in regard to the child's disappearance led to a public response from the community in the form of a desire to make donations to assist in the investigation, both of supplies and monies. That because of Plaintiff Rescue Squad's role in the search and rescue effort, it had become the public face of that effort, and thereafter agreed to open an account at Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, to accept donations for what has become known as the Summer Wells Reward Fund, hereinafter referred to as the disputed funds. That after its meeting on June 21, 2021, Plaintiff Rescue Squad publicly announced that the Summer Wells Reward Fund was open for donations and would remain open for 6 months, after which any monies remaining in the account would be distributed to the defendant, the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District, a Tennessee nonprofit corporation. That Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, began accepting what ultimately totaled some 28 deposits, some as small as $2 and no cents, each which were deposited into the disputed funds account. That such donations deposited into the disputed funds account were made with the knowledge that the disputed funds would be kept open for 6 months, after which any remaining monies would be distributed to the defendant, the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District, a Tennessee nonprofit corporation. That Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, did not retain a record of those who made in-person cash deposits in the disputed funds account, nor did Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, retain a record of the address of those who mailed or made in-person deposits by check in the disputed funds account, some identified by name and city, and others by name and state or country in some cases. Thus, the identity and whereabouts of each of those donors making up those 28 deposits is not presently known and would be difficult, if at all possible, to reconstruct. So it would be really hard or next to impossible for them to trace back to all 28 of those people. Moving on, that in October and November 2021, defendant Kiana Carlock, the only donor using wire transfers, deposited a total of $32,193.34 into the disputed funds account. That after the expiration date of the initial 6 months period, a decision was made to maintain the disputed funds for an additional 6 months before distributing the monies on deposit. That internet, social media, as well as some local broadcast and print media have publicly reported or posted some information that was not entirely correct, as well as publicized what could be described as unfounded rumors concerning the disputed funds, including certain actions of some donors, so as to bring into question the propriety of the administration and manner of distribution of the disputed funds. So basically, Fiona started some stuff. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that last part? I'm just going to read it again because lawyer talk, it's very wordy, but I don't want you to take my word for it. Let me read it again. And these are the facts that I'm reading. We're on number 16. Fact. The internet, social media, as well as some local broadcast and print media have publicly reported or posted some information that was not entirely correct, as well as publicized what could be described as unfounded rumors concerning the disputed funds, including certain actions of some donors, so as to bring into question the propriety of the administration and manner of distribution of the disputed funds. So now they have to explain themselves because y'all wanted to, you get it. Moving on. 17. That the disputed funds held on deposit at Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, are not all the funds that have been publicly alleged to be available for information leading to the recovery of Summer Wells, but they are the only funds of which Plaintiff Rescue Squad has possession. Such funds, which Plaintiff Rescue Squad does not have possession, include some $35,000 in alleged additional reward money, consisting of a check in the amount of $25,000 from an individual who sent his check to the Kingsport Times-News, and which was returned to him by an unknown party, and a local firm's check in the amount of $10,000 that, pursuant to the donor's instructions, was never made part of said disputed funds and was also returned to him. Upon information and belief, those funds may still be available if a tip is received that leads to Summer's recovery, but in such event that those parties would handle that matter directly. Fact number 18. That Plaintiff Rescue Squad has received email correspondence from defendant Fiona O'Connor alleging inappropriate donation instructions may have been used in international solicitation by defendant Kiana Carlock of approximately $32,193.34 of the monies deposited into the disputed funds, a copy of which email is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Fact number 19, that the true identity of both defendants, Fiona O'Connor and Kiana Carlock, is questionable. Defendant Fiona O'Connor shows an address of blank. However, an internet search reveals numerous persons having the same name in multiple countries of the UK. As to defendant Kiana Carlock, an internet search reveals an address of blank. However, such internet search also reveals multiple similar names, all outside Tennessee. That's interesting. I'll have to search my name. However, I have spoken with this exact attorney who signed this paperwork, but I read this before, part of this earlier, so I guess they just didn't update. And I received this mail certified at my home address, so they are very well aware of who I am and where I am as an update. Fact 20, that Plaintiff Rescue Squad, as a disinterested stakeholder, has custody or possession of the disputed funds, which presently total $40,305.47, held on deposit at Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, consisting of the aforesaid $32,193.34 deposited by defendant Kiana Carlock, plus the other 28 deposits accepted by Civis Bank, now Thread Bank, for the disputed funds account. So the reward fund actually totals $40,305.47. That's what I get from this fact. The other funds have been returned to the people who wrote the checks, and it's all at their discretion. Okay? New total, $40,305.47, of which Summer Wells Reward Fund Marathon did donate $32,193.34. Fiona, legitly. Moving on. Number 21. That as a result of such massive public and widespread notoriety, Plaintiff Rescue Squad has a real and reasonable fear of liability or vexatious conflicting claims directed against the disputed funds and is not in the position to safely determine which, if any, claim or potential claim to the disputed funds is meritorious without great hazard and possible multiple liability. They don't want to have to figure out what to do with it without ending up in some sort of lawsuit or battle because, again, the only one who's disputed anything, Miss Fiona, has made it seem as though there's a real big issue. But as I see it, us being the chunk of the money, $32,000, none of us complaining or asking for money back. You got some change left that I don't know if they're disputing that. I don't know who those 28 people are, but 32,000, we're not complaining. We're not disputing. There is no issue. Again, this is what I've said to the attorney. He's crystal clear on it. He totally understands our position here. And with that said, he is also, without giving legal advice, said that he doesn't see a need for me to have to show up to the hearing because I'm not disputing anything. And they're not asking me to prove anything about anything because they're not disputing that. So there's really no reason. It's just paperwork at this point, and then the judge will decide. So let's move on. 22. That Plaintiff Rescue Squad claims no interest in the disputed funds, yet cannot safely distribute the money or any part of it without an order of the court establishing the rights of donors and potential claimants. If the money were to be redistributed, they want the court to decide who and what. They don't want the liability, and I understand that. Again, we don't want anything back. Fact number 23. That Plaintiff Rescue Squad is entitled to join all persons asserting claims against the disputed funds in a single proceeding so that it may avoid duplicative litigation and the possibility of multiple or inconsistent liability for conflicting and adverse claims. So they want to knock it all out at once. Agreed. Wherefore, plaintiff requests the following relief. 1. That after diligent inquiry and reasonable search of the public records, the present whereabouts of both defendants, Fiona O'Connor and Kiana Carlock, who are believed to live outside of Tennessee, is not reliably known. Again, this must be an old copy. As a matter of fact, let's see here. Yeah. This is date stamped July 1st, 2022. And at that time, they were not sure. I can agree to that. To where I was. I don't know about O'Connor. Moving on. Plaintiff requires the relief number 2. The Plaintiff Rescue Squad, pursuant to Tennessee R. Civil Pro 4.08, requests an order for constructive service by publication on defendant donors and defendants Fiona O'Connor and Kiana Carlock, whose residence is outside Tennessee, as stated in this verified complaint in accordance with Tennessee Code. Three, that publication be made for 4 consecutive weeks in the Rogersville Review, a newspaper published and of general circulation in Hawkins County, notifying defendant donors and defendants Fiona O'Connor and Kiana Carlock to appear and make defense to the complaint in this cause, or said cause shall be taken as confessed by said persons and shall be set for hearing ex parte. 4. That unless otherwise directed by the court, that Plaintiff Rescue Squad be allowed to freeze and cease accepting donations to the disputed funds. 5. That the court order Plaintiff Rescue Squad to pay into the custody of the clerk and master the entire current balance of the disputed funds held at Civis Bank, now Thread Bank. They want to get the money out of their hands completely. The defendant donors and any other interested parties be required to interplead and assert in this proceeding and settle between themselves any and all claims which each or any of them have to the disputed funds. We have none. We worked all that out. Remember the refunds and the headache from you know who? We worked it all out. We're good. We're good. We donated from our hearts. Moving on. Number 7, that any and all claimants to the disputed funds, and each of them, be permanently enjoined and restrained from commencing or prosecuting any separate action against Plaintiff Rescue Squad for the recovery of the disputed funds or any part thereof, or any claim damages related thereto in any state or United States court until further order of this court. No one can try to get this prosecuted anywhere else until they're done doing what they're doing. Again, we're not trying to do that, so it doesn't really apply, but we understand. Number 8, that upon payment to the clerk and master of the disputed funds, Plaintiff Rescue Squad be discharged from all liability relating to such funds, and specifically from any further liability to any and all claimants to the disputed funds, and dismissed from this lawsuit. So they want to hand the money over to the court and just be out of it. Number 9, that the court awards such other and further relief as the court may deem just, equitable, and proper under the circumstances. So anything else the court thinks they deserve, they'll take that too. And now we're on the signature page. Churchill Rescue Squad Incorporated. We have the president, Hayden Joyner. State of Tennessee, Hawkins County. State of Tennessee, County of Hawkins. Hayden Joyner, president of the board of directors of Churchill Rescue Squad Incorporated. Plaintiff in the above action, after being duly sworn in accordance with law, make oath that he has read the foregoing complaint, knows the contents thereof, and that the matters and things alleged in the foregoing complaint are true and correct to the best of his knowledge, information, and belief. And he has signed it. Sworn to and subscribed before me this 30th day of June. We have a notary public, Joseph May, with all of his credentials. And we also have the signature of Joseph May, Law Office of May and Coop. So Joseph May is also one of the attorneys for the Churchill Rescue Squad. The person I spoke with is the other attorney, Coop, and he was very friendly, very knowledgeable. And as I understand it, it looks like it might be about February before things actually go into the courtroom. Again, I don't need to be there. I can if I want. I can dispute. We can all dispute funds if we wanted to, but that's not what's happening. Basically, I'm going to read you now this letter that started it all. People are going to still have their own opinion, and I'm okay with that. I'm all about thinking for yourself. But after all of this, will you please really, really consider everything we did for that baby and see the good in it and understand that this is exactly what they said in the beginning of this petition. A cause which implicates the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished. Okay? Because we did a good thing. The Churchill Rescue Squad did a good thing. And it backfired, causing a headache we don't need. We didn't find Summer. The money didn't go to rescue. But it can go and help other children and other families. That's why we were okay with it going to the Child Advocacy Center. And we still are. But it all started here. A letter was sent on the 9th of June, 2022. This letter comes from Miss Fiona O'Connor to the treasurer of Churchill Search and Rescue Squad regarding the Summer Wells Reward Fund, a fund she never donated to, by the way. My name is Fiona O'Connor, and I am an independent investigator. I have been conducting an investigation into 3 of the donations received into the said reward fund from Kiana Carlock. Said reward fund. This is where the Churchill Rescue Squad is feeling a little under attack because now they're a said reward fund. She's tying it. You see what I'm getting at? Okay, moving on. The following donations into are subject to my investigation. October 25th, 2021. $17,179. 11/10/2021, $12,281.07. 11/29/2021, $2,772.42. Kiana Carlock, as I'm sure you are aware, held an unregulated illegal fundraiser on YouTube over the course of 10 days. The said fundraiser was unregulated on the grounds donations were illegally solicited from members of the public as an intentional diversion from donating directly to Civis Bank. All of the above transactions were collected on quotations on behalf of the Summer Wells Reward Fund. I am aware that the status of Churchill Rescue is charitable 501c4, therefore rendering the said Summer Wells Reward Fund and beneficiaries thereof as a charitable reward fund. Any fundraising on behalf of your organization and without prior consent from your good selves is deemed under state and federal law as a criminal offense. Video evidence was made available by Kiana Carlock with regards to telephone conversations she recorded with Captain Tim Coop and other staff members at Churchill Search and Rescue. The video of the said calls were placed onto YouTube and provided clear evidence that Captain Tim Coop and other staff members were aware that the above donations originated from a fundraiser on behalf of quotations, your Summer Wells Reward fundraiser. So they were aware, right? Okay. And they did not see it as a crime. Right, because crowdsourcing is not a crime, correct? Okay, but completely challenging the integrity of the rescue squad. How disrespectful. But she's not done. The letter continues. I'm also aware of a number of complaints received by Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, Nevada Attorney General's Office, and fraud action in the UK in relation to the 3 transactions listed above. I see no proof attached of any of these complaints from any of these entities, and why in the hell would you be aware, Fiona? I've spoken with Hawkins County myself. Nevada Attorney General's Office has not reached out to me. They're well aware of all my information, and fraud action in the UK was that. The letter continues. I have personally received a number of concerns from members of the public who donated to the unregulated fundraiser, who would like answers as to why Churchill Search and Rescue accepted the above transactions in full knowledge of their origin, and having been made aware of numerous complaints made to authorities in the U.S. and the U.K. What request? U.S. and U.K. crime reference numbers are available should you wish to pursue the evidence of such complaints being formalized. She's later going to attach her report numbers for things she started that I haven't even looked into. Don't care. All right. So I just want to backtrack in this paragraph here. Why would anybody personally reach out to you for any reason about the fundraiser? You were a complete non-factor, Fiona. Who knew who you were to contact you about concerns? Girl, it don't add up. I digress. I have an open investigation case number regarding the unregulated fundraiser spearheaded by Kiana Carlock with Action Fraud UK in relation to UK donors whom are deemed violation of fraudulent charitable fundraiser. I'm not sure, but that's what it says. The case numbers for your reference. The case number for your reference is, I'll check that out. In addition, the fraudulent fundraiser was reported to the UK Police Cybercrime Division and further to Action Fraud UK by Mr. Carl Nichols, also known as Enchanted Life Path, everyone. Wouldn't you know it? The case reference numbers are, and there's two more, respectively. What a waste of everybody's time and energy, you guys. This is ridiculous. Carl Nichols. Please, could you kindly address the following questions in the first instance? These are directed to the Churchill Rescue Squad. From Fiona, Critical Thinking Crimes, her channel, and Enchanted Life Path, Fiona O'Connor and Carl Nichols. Now they demand that the rescue squad address the following questions. Did you at any time seek advice or consultation from local or federal law enforcement with regards to the appropriation of illegal funds? Did you undertake any due diligence in full knowledge that Kiana Carlock had solicited the said funds on behalf of a charitable fund and without your consent? Did you at any time, subsequent to being made aware by Kiana Carlock that the proceeds derived from the illegal activity, namely a charitable fundraiser, without your consent or necessary accreditations required to fundraise legally on your behalf, did you report the receipt of the said transactions to law enforcement? If not, why not? I have evidence that throughout Churchill's Search and Rescue Squad's promotion of the said reward fund, you failed to stipulate that all checks or money orders should be made payable to the Summer Wells Reward Fund. On the contrary, you stated checks could be made payable to Civis Bank or sent directly to yourselves. Your failure to provide clear instructions to potential donors may have led to money sent to yourselves instead of the intended beneficiary. This in itself is potentially a breach of the regulations regarding the solicitation of donations. On this basis, are you able to provide proof of all monies into Churchill Search and Rescue Squad subsequent to the promotion of the Summer Wells Reward Fund, and why you failed to provide clear stipulation who the checks should be made payable to? I await you meaningful response. I'm just reading it as it is. I await you meaningful response within the 7 days from the date of this letter. Failure to respond will result in a formal complaint being lodged against yourselves with the relevant authorities regarding breaches of charitable solicitation requirements. Kind regards, typed Fiona O'Connor, LLB.HONS. No signature for her. And then it's handwritten PP. Carl Nichols, and then there's a signature underneath Carl's name. So when you know these two were in cahoots the whole time, wasting everybody's time and energy, when the money we worked so hard and we raised and we donated could be already helping another organization. Well, there you have it. I know that people were fishing for updates and making calls and not getting anywhere. It was a brick wall. I talked to the attorney. He let me know the paperwork would be coming, so I waited for that because y'all know I like paperwork and I like to speak from the facts. So these are the facts. I read them all to you, literally. They had facts number 5 through 23. Feel free to rewind. It is all there. Again, I've spoken with the attorney, Mr. Coop, and we'll find out in February what the judge decides. We're not disputing our portion, so he will decide I'm thinking to just give it to the organization we agreed to, since none of us are disputing these funds. There are no investigations into me. Whatever this is Fiona's talking about in these case numbers, I'll look into, but they hold no weight. Okay, they hold no weight. We did a good thing. Crowdsourcing is very legal in the US. We did that, and we donated the money where it was supposed to go. Now, had we not done that, I would completely understand where she's coming from. But since we did nothing wrong, this good deed will not be punished. Fiona O'Connor, thank you for wasting everybody's time, including the Churchill Rescue Squad, and now the 3rd Judicial District Chancery Court for Hawkins County. I hope you're happy with yourself. You guys, see you in the comments.